Yesterday, I drove for DoorDash and I found that I was doing one thing that was drastically reducing my earnings. So in this video, we're gonna go over that shift and see what happened. Well, call me nostalgic, but I was just feeling like driving the UTC market again. Well, welcome to another ride along. We're driving on DoorDash on a $3.50 peak pay incentive. Looks like I just got an order, but we're driving from 5:30 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. Let's check out this order. So here's a tip for you. So you get to your marketplace, you're on that per delivery bonus, hopefully, and you go online and you get your first order, but don't rush into it. So this one, it was from a place that's right across the street there in another plaza, $13, but it's like what, 8.8 miles, I think, and it was further away. So I'd have to drive back into this marketplace, and I selected decline because of the distance. So chances are, because I've delivered in this marketplace before, it's usually pretty busy, I'll get another order with a better dollars to mile ratio and or just shorter distance. So this is order number 2, Pokey 1.5, $14.75 for 7.2 miles. That's pretty good. That's what, like a $2 dollars to mile ratio. So again, let's look where it's going. This is the UTC marketplace here in San Diego. That's near La Jolla. And again, we're going south, really towards the Pacific Beach area. All right, so I have a minute here. So I want to go over a takeaway that's going to help you on your next shift. So what I've been noticing, and this is why I'm driving this UTC marketplace, just doing my market research, understanding my different market segments. So I'm seeing a trend of UTC to Pacific Beach. That's the southeast, the southeast region from UTC. So I've done UTC to Pacific Beach. So I'm back to UTC. Then I go back to Pacific Beach. Then I go back to UTC. So think about that. Whenever you're driving in a certain marketplace, certain marketplaces, from what I've seen, trend to different areas. So whenever you're driving, look for these trends. Different pockets, do they typically trend to certain other areas? And if they do, just consider, well, is it really worth it? Like for instance, maybe one marketplace has a massive mall and it takes a lot of time to go in there. Maybe another one, it's a ton of apartments, maybe downtown, what have you. So parking is tough. Whereas another segment may be more rural, a lot of neighborhoods delivering to homes, which is good, but since it's more rural, there's less restaurants and a bit more driving. Now here we're still back in my go-to spot in UTC. This order $11.75, but I'm gonna decline it for 9.1 miles. I'm not really happy with that dollars to mile ratio, how many dollars I'm getting for how many miles I'm driving, and I'm not a fan of where it's headed. It's really pulling me north, certainly into another marketplace. Well, I think we're seeing the trend here. This order from the Melt, $14.25, that's very good, especially as it's only 5.9 miles. And again, it's pretty much back to that Pacific Beach area down south. Well, why not? Let's finish with this one. Back again to the Melt. We went back up to UTC and, well, back down yet again to Pacific Beach for $13.50. So here's the massive takeaway that will reduce your earnings and you may not even be aware that you're doing it. That's what I'm calling yo-yo driving. That's what I was doing in this shift. I was yo-yoing, and I even mentioned that earlier. It's from my starting place back to one other area that's outside of my marketplace. And then I would have to come back to my starting, and you get the point, right? It's back and forth, and it's really adding a lot of, let's say, commuting miles to get back to my scheduled zone. Because it would be different if these orders were finishing within the scheduled zone, even if they were 4 or 5 miles away, because then I could park, sit, and wait because I'm still in my zone and that's what I want you to do, versus getting pulled out And then yes, you could wait in that new zone, or you can go offline and try to dash now in that new zone. But otherwise, you got to drive back. So let's see how this yo-yoing shift on a decent bonus actually played out as far as numbers. So again, I was driving in the UTC marketplace here in San Diego on a $3.50 peak pay bonus. The shift was from 5:30, finished a little bit early until 8:15 p.m. Gross revenue was $56.25 with a gross revenue per hour of $20.45. Now that doesn't sound too bad, but let's consider the rest. Total deliveries during this time, that was 4. I did receive 4 tips, with the average tip, pretty good, $5. Let's look at the business miles. Now this is what I want to talk about. It is longer than I would have liked. It's 48.6 miles. I don't know, for the time invested here, let me know actually down below in the comments, because the tax deduction, it was $27.95. But again, consider like half of the miles on this shift were commuting miles back to UTC. So the takeaway is this doesn't necessarily hurt your cash flow, just solely how much cash you're bringing in, but it's going to hurt your net revenue because you're adding expenses, you're adding wear and tear, you're adding, of course, the miles onto your vehicle. And those are all miles without an order, so that's flat out expenses. And it's certainly frustrating. It's like every time I finish an order in Pacific Beach, and again, yes, I could stay and wait, and I did for a few minutes, didn't get anything. And option number 2, you can go offline, you can end your dash and dash now, but parking in PB is pretty difficult. So third option, of course, you have to drive back, and it's frustrating because I'm thinking I can't even get an order until I get back to UTC. So let me know if you share the same frustrations. Are there any areas in your marketplace that have you yo-yoing back between different market segments? And if you did get value in this video, definitely drop me a like. And you can also click or tap the screen right now for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you. And I'll see you in the next one.